Monkey pouch. Whatever. Alright, that's done. Now the Great Ace Attorney. Sorry for the delay. Because all these damn... I downloaded all the Jackpot games, so all these are out of order. Installing games first. Great Ace, where are you? There you are. We have to finish the case, and then we gotta get our platinum. And we have the escapades also. That's true. I gotta send this to my friend. So, something was happening. We must take immediate action now. No, that's not his voice. We must take immediate action now. That's his voice. See, a little sugar can go a long way. To verify whether Sashiro Jinkoku remains unharmed. What? Remains unharmed? I agree. Should be a first priority. Recently come to my attention that he hasn't been seen since yesterday. How did you... When a foreign dignitary invited to Great Britain goes missing for 24 hours, it's only natural that the question of his safety should arise. You don't mean to say think Judge Koku may have been killed? Reaper has more than one assassin at his disposal, and he has the power to influence to give orders from the inside of the prison cell. Isn't that right, Lord Van Zeeks? If I were truly the Reaper, I'd be able to tell you. He's had no fucking visitors besides Minosuke. Order in the head. Futurama never let die. Order, sorry, no, wrong ways. Order in the head. Futurama never let it die. Order. We will take an emergency recess for 30 minutes. Now? Guests of the symposium have been told to maintain regular contact with the organizer's office. Yep. Don't bite. I'm trying to get the crud out of your eye. Guests of the symposium have been told to maintain regular contact with the organizer's office. If the man can't be located within half an hour, we'll have to assume the worst. Oh no! Not Judge Ikuku. The one who wanted to kill a harmless Japanese man who had only just arrived in the country. Except that is... for the Reaper who wanted to finish off a mark that slipped through the net 10 years ago. I will have to agree. Mr. Naruto, for the defense's sake. My lord. I sincerely hope we are successful. We're unable to confirm Judge Koku's healthy existence in the next 30 minutes. You will face grave difficulties. I How? Order's adjourned for 30 minutes. Kazuma-sama, the Reaper's assassin. Feels though it's all like I'm in a nightmare. There, it's gone. I can hardly believe it either, but on the other hand, Kazuma isn't in the habit of making up stories. I have such a terrible sense of foreboding. Something awful has happened to Judge Goku. Then I feel as though things are only being spiraled further and further out of control. I felt it from the moment I stepped into the courtroom this morning. Courthouse. There has a strange sensation that we were careering towards a foregone conclusion. Well, in the worst case, we might only have 30 minutes left. Fortunately, though, I don't think there's anything we can do but wait now. We're out of options. Actually, there may be one last thing. A hand we could play. Dun, 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 dun. Or rather, one last year. Of course. So the little doll that Iris gave us. For the sake of you completely run out of options to play in trial today, pull this little Hurley's ears as hard as you possibly can. Perhaps now is the time? What should I do? Pull Hurley's ears or not? Pull! Here he goes then. I'm gonna do it. Good luck, Mr. Naruto. It's a doll, no looking back. Heave! Ow! That scream sounded like Mr. Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes, where are you? Here, my my dear fellow. Here. Hey, pal. It's the felt doll talking. Pull ears again, Mr. Naruto, as hard as you can. Alright then. I'll pull all my strength into it. Heave! Ow! Please, my dear fellows, don't need to pull all my ears off. Mr. Sholmes, where are you? Where are you, Mr. Sholmes? Myself and my trusty partner. Hey, pal. Myself and my trusty partner. I'm presently in the first class cabin area in the SS Screws. The SS Screws? She left over last night with the final pieces of cargo we're loading. We're currently locked at Dunkirk, but we're due to be on our way again in half an hour. You've taken a ship to France? Please, even my athletic powers, I would struggle to jump the Strait of Dover. After we left Baker Street last night, we hurried into the cab to the station and by train to the port. In order to board this vessel in time. So, you mean you already worked it out? That the steamship was where everything really took place? Mr. Naruto, pray, what is my name? Sherlock Sholmes, world famous great detective. Recited to perfection, well done. You're a genius, Mr. Sholmes. that's the only word for it. Ow, 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 ow. Mrs. Addo, gently with this genius ear, please. Oh my, I'm ever so sorry. If I may, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, there you are, Mikotawa. There you are, Mikotawa. You may remember that it was the fact that I made the connection to SS Grus. I was calling you yesterday when we examined the notebook, and I recalled my steamship ticket. Ha ha ha, but of course I was, my dear fellow. I take the credit. Now once did I controvert the fact. I merely had our court-bound companions utter my name. Yes, you did, didn't you? I just entered recess. The trial resumes in 30 minutes from now. If we're unable to present any new leads, then I'm afraid to say... Do not fret, please. It is for precisely that purpose that my partner and I have made this journey. Although that we shall welcome news for you within half an hour. Thank you, Mr. Sholmes. That'll be wonderful. Till later, then. Yes, you'll be hearing from us if not in the first touch. I shall be hearing from you if you keep tugging my ear in that mindless fashion. So they pull the other mouse's ear, and this one pulls his ear. Whatever was the idea behind making the receiver operate in such a way in the first place, Sholmes? Why the deuce would I know? It was Irish invention, not mine. That's the only way to get him to pay attention. I don't know how much you enjoy playing the hero of the hour, Sholmes. We have about half that now before the Grus was put out to sea again. To conclude our investigation rapidly, we should find ourselves in Naples before long. And there were times when you make a surprising amount of sense. So let's begin. First class cabin number 2, yes, this is the one. I don't believe the investigation of the cabin is going to be plain sailing. Yep, the canary likes to sing, Hope. You know you have your scratching thing, right? You better not be pooping. Hope. Yeah, they didn't get you. DeSantis is a new nickname. Omicron DeSantis. Alright. I'm thinking the cabin's gonna be smooth sailing. The crewman standing in front of the door is an angry looking fellow. Why are you loitering here? Who are you? That's not a Russian accent. My dear fellow, do you not recognize Royal Famous Great Detective when you see one? We already talked before, too. Of course you're not to be. Who are you? Do not recognize world-traveling great sailor Stroganoff when you see. That great detective. I don't think so. His name is written right on his arm. Do you see that, Mikotawa? It appears that this man is a devoted follower of mine. Goodness me, is that a tattoo? It says Sholmes. I must say, when I adore such flattering naturality leads me to bitter cold. What are you talking about? Leave now. What are you talking about? Leave now. I am distressing. My loyal devotee knows me only by name and not appearance. Yet I already know a great deal about you, sir. You're a brother, I believe. Like yourself, he's a shipman. Granting travel in the world of the Russian steamship, in fact. How can you know this? Elementary, my dear Mikotawa. I'm sure it was. 3 years ago, but I was bound for London on board a ship, you see. Looking for one of my fellow passengers, a man by the name of Jikoku. There's no one with that name on board. There's no one with that name on board. But you know, you may have purchased a ticket for passage. Oh, you mean Eastern man? No. He left the ship 2 hours ago. Here, Dunkirk. He said something about emergency, I think. What? Are you sure? Just sure realized that we're after him, has he? So the cabin is the one behind you. We'd like to investigate, please. No, our order's not even to let Mouse inside. Mikotawa? Please be a good man and draw the sailors away from, will you? I shall make up some excuse so he leaves the area. Don't great detective see? Don't great detective see? That even sailors have ears, both left and right. Stupid ass. Curses! My plan is ruined. You only have yourself to blame, I'm afraid, Sholmes. Forget it. Forget it. Cabin door is locked. Like a more American accent. Even if I'm not here, you cannot go inside. Mikotawa? Mikotawa? I'm sure you haven't forgotten my special talent, have you? Opening any lock? A mere 5 seconds. You're so kind as to inform me the requisite time, old friend. In your typical accommodating manner. How could I refuse such a typically unappealing request, my old friend? Well, you distract the burly sailor for 5 seconds, do I? Good man, so, the game's afoot. He's like a Neo-Temple Guardian statue. This fellow, the way he's glaring at us so fiercely. Tell me, why are you in the cabin if it's unoccupied? Because this area is only for first-class passengers. This only is. We must look out for suspicious criminals with K's. He's looking straight at me when he said that. Dear fellow, as you can see plainly, we are quite unsuspicious as criminals go. But still criminals. No, for goodness sakes, Holmes. Tell the man, we're neither suspicious nor criminals. Ah, yes, quite right. Yes, quite right, Mikotawa. Gracious, this seaman is too far too evil for his own good. Extremely careful what you say. One of us ought to be, yes. That's the mousetrap, I think. Perhaps I could distract the crewman's attention with this somehow. We'll leave it alone. Oh, sure that works. We need another distraction. We're looking around first. This would appear to be an alarm bell. All hell will break loose if that thing were to ring. The whole crew would know about it. Not right now. No, nothing. Actually, I need another distraction. Another first-class cabin, yet the door is completely unguarded. Empty as well. I had a quick look inside earlier. But I confess, I didn't investigate the wardrobe. There may well be a young Japanese man perspiring merrily. You're referring to Naruhodo, you'd be very well that he's currently perspiring merrily in court. That's not strike you though, Mikotawa. When I Master Scarlet in front of this cabin, when both are apparently vacant. Ah, the switch for the electrical lights. Perhaps if I were to turn the lights off, the equipment will not be able to see. Leave it alone for now. That would never work. You need that distraction. Speaking to for members of the crew of coming on one another ship. He just persuaded Sailor to use need for it. Shows go lost the door, he was distracted. Question is, how? That's the way back to the deck. But can't give up on this now. Mousetrap and then the alarm bell? That would be funny if it worked. Mousetrap. Snap. Choo choo! But you just get... That sounds like a big mouse in the trap. Choo choo! I'll bring a bucket of water later to put it out of misery. I like the sound of that. In any case, my dear fellow, it was quite unconvincing. Only Japanese mice make the true sound. Oh really, Sholmes? And pray tell, what sounds do Russian mice make? Pee pee, naturally. So, also quite unconvincing, I readily admit. Go ahead and make it on. Do pee pee this time. No, thank you. Should have come up with an alternate distraction. Fuck it. I'll hold a break at least. Here it goes then. Pardon me in advance. You! What are you doing? You! What are you doing? If we were at sea, that would be very bad. What's going on down there? Seaman's trying off. Report at once. There you go. Sorry, sir. Nothing to report. It's just a stupid trick. It's just stupid trick, sir. Nothing to report. Nothing at all. Not by me, a world famous noise. I told you. Show them now. Now. Done. Not even 5 seconds, eh? I'll start gaping on my brilliance. In we go. Oh, yes. Hey, you moved the sign. November 3rd, that says Groove's First Class Cabin number 2. Why is there a sock or something stuffed in there? Good gracious. It would appear that the occupant of this room did not lead us apart rather early. It's clothes on the floor there. There's Shishiro's without question. Well, it will seem just a little too late. Yes, about 2 hours. Still, while you're here, we should investigate thoroughly. There'll be 2 hours worth of clues to find in this here. Well, the burly must return at any moment, Sholmes. They may. There's all the more drilling. Quite an exquisite glass, I must say. See here, how it... There's something wrong, Sholmes. You suddenly trailed off. Ice, Mikutama, ice! Well, opulent first-class passengers enjoy. Chill drinks. Pardon? Give me this seems to be equipped with an electric refrigerator cold room, you think? Ah. Well, it's a luxury liner after all. An enormous refrigerator storing all sorts of lavish produce as well as ice. Which when in Japan we enjoyed culinary delights from all over the world. Certainly, Mikataba. That he was making my mouth water. I haven't talked about the flavor of the food I ate, you know. That's important, though. There's a waste paper basket, look. And there's still rubbish inside. Indeed, and that's pry. Discovered recently that I have a penchant for exploring the contents of others' waste paper baskets. Certainly hope that's for your work. Only for your work. Yeah. Yeah, I noticed the issue to all passengers from 3 days ago. 3 days ago. The night before we were in London. When I was still on board myself. Evacuation drill notice. October 31st, following the departure of the port of Dunkirk. It's a evacuation drill, I remember now. For safety and security, all first-class passengers were constantly under watchful eye of the crew. It's a welcome relief to have some privacy for once. Drill itinerary of the entered the court record. Notice about the Kratos evacuation to be carried out by the crew of the SS Grus, and the ship arrived in Dover and was found in Judge Chikoko's cabin. It's like, no, we can't go out now. All doors of the vessel have locks, I believe. Why is it the end? Never know when that. Why is it the end? You never know when criminals when and where criminals may strike. But of course, the great detective Herlock Sholmes, lock, bolt, or shirt button makes no difference. All are fastened with equal ease. The way you go on, you sound rather more like a great thief than a great detective. And you make it tell. As long as there's greatness, I am quite satisfied. Of course you are. Well, it's slightly different in the color here. You see? Indeed, when you observe the rising from the frame that had been hanging there for quite some time is removed. Perhaps your friend is an art thief. That is a bold deduction worthy of a great detective, I'm sure. I mean, we're going to be an elusive thief who has been taking France galleries, I think. I think perhaps we should force our attentions elsewhere, Sholmes, don't you? Outline on the wall. Feels as though they spotted something that's similar shape and size elsewhere. Yep, hint, hint. Plenty of reading material to keep passengers occupied for the long sea voyages. What a mixture of classical literature and easy reading to be most satisfactory, I must say. Tisk. Hey pal, Tisk. Whoever stocked this bookcase is a hopeless heretic. There's no copy of Adventure Herlock Sholmes, my dear fellow. I'm afraid this is just me. But no, you're quite right. More blasphemous than overlooking the Bible. I shall leave a copy behind. It just happens to have one on me. You're a true missionary of the Church of Great Detectives, aren't you? That's a substantial heap of clothes on the floor. Overcoat, shirts, dressing gown, Mamoki work trousers, Tanzan robe, Mamoki worker trousers, Tanzan robe, my Haramaki waistband. Clearly the clothing of a Japanese man. Clearly Japanese men are accustomed to the culture of a wardrobe. Looks to me as if they've been thrown in a heap like that in some kind of hurry. Did you help yourselves with a Japanese man's shirts, perhaps? I'm sure you made mention of picking a few earlier. Packing a few. I'd be really likely to drown in one of those Sishiro's shirts. No, just buy any extras I need, I think. So we'll get to that in a moment. Let's get the wardrobe. According to reporters again, Naruhodo was concealing himself in Asagi's wardrobe. Indeed he was. It was a similar size to this one. You must climb inside yourself, my dear fellow. What? What for? It was a sign of first faithful meeting with Mr. Naruhodo. You can experience the moment for yourself now, completely with my dramatic rhetoric. Come along now, if you go. It'll just take a moment. Really, Sholmes, you could just tell me what you said. Well, I'll utter some brilliant remark and open the wardrobe and reveal my stowaway murderer. I think I'll just read about it in the Adventures of Sherlock Sholmes. Two things left to check. With the rest of the notifications later on Discord. That's probably important, so let's take a look at this. There's a speaking tube here, look. It's been stopped up with some cloth. The voices of the crewmen on the bridge aren't annoyance, I suppose. Or indeed, so the voices of this cabin aren't heard elsewhere. Has something happened here that no one else is here for, do you think? Either that, or it could be to prevent snakes from entering. That's really become a favorite case of yours, hasn't it? Oh, now there's two things left to check. That's a very sizable trunk indeed. The Shiro is partial to all things large. Rather a clumsy fellow, as he failed to notice that he left it behind. Perhaps he left it on purpose. It's lighter than you may think, but it's still a hindrance to speedy escape. Huh. Pity, it's locked. So we can't just look inside. Surely 5 seconds from now the situation is quite different, though. Say not, it's a 7-digit combination lock. Ooh, shit. 7. I'm not in a morose enough mood to work through all the combinations at present. Ooh! Ah. So not that one yet. So we'll do this first and then that. These are the rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. Additionally, there are severe punishments for stowing away on the wardrobes and or traveling cases. I feel like these rules have increased since the last time we read them. Probably in my imagination. How about the fact they're not straight on the wall? Does that strike you? You may be right. Probably just with your imagination, though. Trifle. No, I say, Mikotema. There's nothing important about trifles. That's probably just my imagination, but I think that may be slightly off. Yeah, so the chest is important. Even though this looks very important. Alright. Combination lock. Hey, you there. You still here? Yeah, able seaman Stroganoff. Hello again. I was beginning to think you never materialized. Alright, you were just waiting for me? Of course, I was expecting to burst in with a hearty Russian profanity or far sooner. I was in trouble with the captain because he had tricked you before. Poor innocent Taichin. It's all your fault. Ship is in port soon. Get off now. Of course, we shall disembark presently, my dear fellow. But first, there's something must be done. What are you talking about? Why, naturally. The bunking of your deceit and the bearing of the truth. Kakoi? Kakoi? Afraid to see through your lies. One thing. Mr. Goku has not left this vessel yet. Ah. For another, my dear seaman Stroganoff. You know exactly where this man is, even as we speak, don't you? Now, how could you? Good gracious, you mean you worked it out? All of it? He's in the fucking chest. It's really been too long, hasn't it, old friend? 10 years and less. So, would you care to join me in a dance? My impeccable logic and reasoning. Nothing would please me more. What is this? We have but minutes before the vessel puts to sea. No games now. Time is of the essence. Stroganoff, allow me to remind you earlier. Your earlier name. No, since Goku left the ship 2 hours ago. Duh. That's what I said. Sadly, that's a rather clumsy lie. You see, there is something in this room that's quite clearly contradicts it. What? Ah, yes, of course. So you notice it too, Mr. Migatama. Then please do take the lead. What in the cabin shows the possibility of Jikoku having disembarked? Let's see what the last 3 years have done for your operations, Migatama. 10 years I did this, Holmes, not 3. Why, of course you has, quite. All the clues are here in the cabin for your eyes to see. So as I say, you must not merely look, but observe. Observe, the answers become clear. So impress me. I think I can manage that. Large trunk. No? Migatama, no games now, more my words. Worry not. Yeah, come on, Sholmes. What's the fun of the life of a little fooling around, huh? Ah, ha, ha. Quite right you are. That was a close shave. I better rethink that before I'm the fool here. Something contradicts it. Why did he not disembark? Closing that thing. His trunk is another reason. Yeah, ice does not melt. It would have been melted in 2 hours. Perhaps we should have cleared away that glass. I'm curious that the ice should have melted despite it being abandoned 2 hours ago. Ah! It appeared the man was here at the very cabin until moments before our arrival. With his well-chilled glass in hand. Get your mind off the refreshments, Holmes. Well, may even conclude that somebody had informed them of our boarding. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Stroganoff? But why would Shishiro run from us? Before you consider that question, allow me to confirm one simple matter. A small matter. Correct in saying that these first-class cabins are the SS Goose. Our same was that you and Mr. Jikoku were accommodating your voyage from Japan. Ah, that's right. They are. The cabin next door, Mr. Shiro, was, yes, 50 days in this cabin during our voyage, as I suspected, as before you see. There are traces of this cabin, a dark secret that Jikoku had to hide. What traces? I don't know nothing of this, man. Ah, it seems to be you, Mr. Stroganoff. Show them what exactly you're getting at. That's that. Traces of the cabin on nefarious activity. Well, that'll be the wall. Something appears out of place, which I'm quite certain wouldn't have escaped your notice. Something out of place in here. The key to this Mikatawa. There's a dark deed taking place here. Or being mapped as something quite nefarious, incongruous. I must say, I didn't foresee ever doing this dance of deduction with you again. Yeah, so if I had done this with Mr. Naruhodo... No, quite, but life is full of unexpected twists and turns, as we all know. See if I can uncover the truth here. Yes, you have the floor, my dear fellow. That's out of place. The rules of passage in the frame here are obviously out of place. But are hanging crooked on the wall, as they were put there in a hurry. Yes, I'm sure you're already concluded. The frame was originally over here. Size and shape are a perfect match. Ah, you're right, man. When did that frame move? Probably the most observant equipment, are you, Mr. Stroganoff? I don't think the Captain was quite justified in having his reservation about your reliability. Oh, there is such a nerve. So, Mikata, why don't you lift the frame off the wall? A bullet hole. That looks like a bullet hole. What? Who has been shooting the walls? Only we get to shoot the walls. I see, so the projectile has been removed. Maybe the careful occupant in his room has already disposed of it. Now then, Mr. Stroganoff. Oh. Yeah, it's taking the impression you're attempting to shield the occupant. I don't know what you're talking about. Why would I try to protect an Eastern gentleman? Yes, we're talking about the same man as he. Good. Oh. Sure, we can get to the bottom of this in no time, aren't you? Because there's no submarine or evidence that explains why you're lying for the man. Why he's lying. Yes. You've been told to keep up the pretense as clearly shown by. Well, you know how to approach this one, Shoals. My dear Mikada, simply keep the first principles in mind. Study your subjects from the every angle. Quite sure you'll see it. In fact, I put my wager on it. So I'm to glare at this fellow on all sides. I can clearly do that. Uh-huh. Yeah, that quote-unquote tattoo, but... Wad of banknotes is likely what he means. It's almost too obvious for words. Quite the universal language of the world. Money. Oh. And I wager to the Eastern gentleman in question. It's a Shirojikoku, yes? Oh, how do you know that name? So I presumably realize what this means. There are clear signs that a crime has been committed in this cabin. The way you're going, sir, you'll find yourself accused of an accomplice. Being an accomplice. But I believe you know Mr. Stroganoff. Where Judge Coco's hiding at this moment. Yep. And his gaze betrays him. His gaze betrays him. It's always been a doubt. The man of deduction, the fruitive glance is unfaltering ally. Yes, I think you're onto something there, Sholmes. You found the chink in a burly. You found a chink in a burly furlow's armor. We need to follow a man's gaze to know where prey is hiding. Yeah, it's obvious where he's hiding. Science figures the pupils, the mute delayed blink. Nothing escapes my attention, even that of which I barely perceptible. Can hardly call this barely perceptible, showing the man's turned his entire head. It's not exactly to describe a fruitive glance, is it? It's almost too obvious. Should let your tapping toes decide, my dear fellow. What's he looking at? He's like looking, yeah. Yeah, of course they put like, if he would have probably came with that. The only obvious place. You turned immediately to look at this large trunk, didn't you? Ah. Truth is, Shirojiko was able to escape the ship in time, and as at this very moment, it's best to stifle his breath inside this trunk. He still takes as a breath to take. I fear he may be running dangerously low on air. Huh? How do you think Kana is making a nuisance of ourselves quite so long? I think it'll be everyone's best interest to us opening the trunk quickly as possible. Badui, are you forgetting about the combination lock? Well, who do you think was told the combination? You don't even know the 7-digit code. Combination lock can't be opened from the inside of the truck. Therefore, there must be an arrangement for somebody to open it after our departure. Of course. And sure, before you go ahead inside the trunk. You must have told somebody a 7-digit number combination for the lock. I'm sure you can confirm, Mr. Stroganoff. Gulp? No, I know nothing of this combination. Don't move a muscle, my good seaman. That's the combination. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Now, Mikitaba. Are you pleased with the honor to open the trunk? On earth do you expect me? 7-digit number, remember? Click it now, we have a little time. SHOL M E and S. Five 401 3 The one I'm not sure of is that one. The E. Pretty sure it's a 3. No, it's freezing open. Tell me, what number to use? To begin with, I thought I would try my birthday. Birthday? Interesting. Since of today, with that absurd guesswork, you're dead to me. as a measure of responses ever, Sholmes. The 3, 2. Ah, it's a 2. Yeah, it is a 2. And it's also backwards. It's also backwards. SHOLME. No, wrong way. S. Wait, what? S. SHOLMES. It's backwards. Oh, his arm. Yeah, it did it. It's open. You had the medal, didn't you? You had the medal, didn't you? Well, Eugene, you found me now. It's a Shiro. So you'll be on a hope not to find you here, you know? But you're not entirely unsurprised, I take it. Order not. But you're not entirely unsurprised, I take it. No, quite. I just wish it were some other way. Well, are you going to introduce me? Ah, your reputation precedes you, Mr. Sholmes. I've read many of your exploits. Let's keep my manners, Sholmes. This is Mr. Jikoku, my old friend and traveling companion. That wasn't a detail, so I believe you meant to say your old friend and traveling companion. I just said that. We made the cowardly decision to flee the country without a word or anyone when things are turned sour. I see my reputation precedes me as well. What an honor. Wow. Well, Sashiro, you going to explain all this? You know it all by now, I imagine. What you don't know, of course, is that 3 days ago, the night before our arrival in Britain, a temple was made of my life here in this very ship. By the Reaper of the Bailey, yes, I've since heard. Because you were once prosecuted by the Reaper, weren't you? 10 years ago now, mind you. I had no idea at the time what a dangerous individual he was. When we arrived in London to find a symposium was postponed until goodness knows when, it became all too apparent to me that I might very well be the target again. So you decided to flee the capital without saying a word to me at all. Afraid so, yes. Of course, I realize now that I've really ought to have confided in you. Somewhat surprising, I must say. Surprising, I might say. What is? Well, first-class cabins are more luxury steamships are a very short supply. It's more than a little hard to believe that this one just happened to be available. So says the protagonist of some colorful short stories. Well, I don't care for your opinion. Your opinion is pointless. The cabin did happen to be available, so I purchased a ticket, and here I am. Must see for myself the obvious remnants of that incident in this cabin. So you already purchased a return ticket before we even thought that Dover had you. Everyone else was taking this cabin and seeing the evidence, that is. Eugene, I have nothing to say to you. Well, in a mere 5 minutes, the ship will set off on its voyage. Well, in a mere 5 minutes, the ship will set off on its voyage and not make a port again until Italy. Freddie wants to sit to embark with us at once. You have no jurisdiction over my movements. We have this, Shishiro. Take it. What is it? What is it? What is it? It's a subpoena from the Old Bailey. You're the man of the law. You're a man of the law. You know what the ramifications of ignoring a document like this on British courts will be. Well, he's technically not in Britain. You came prepared then, Eugene. Come on, let's go. One moment. What is this, Sholmes? Inside Mr. Jikoku's trunk. Found this rather fascinating trinket. I found this rather fascinating trinket. That could be important. What is that, Shishiro? I can't help you, I'm afraid. Some small component of something. But what? I have an idea. By the look of his face, I think he generally doesn't know. Well, let's pocket a small souvenir for a brief sojourn in France. Small component, small machine part that Mr. Sholmes found in Judge Ikoku's cabin in the SS Cruise. Has been entered a court record. Well, young Naruto, I think we've done as much as we can, I'm afraid. The rest will be on your shoulders and your assistant. November, 12:10 p.m. The Old Bailey courtroom. Kazuma-sagi, I know you didn't lie, but still. Wouldn't lie, but still, there is no doubt that you're holding something back. And you know more than you're saying. During the past 30 minutes since this court has adjourned, all possible experts expended. But sadly, Mr. Chikoku's whereabouts could not be ascertained. Let's accept the unfortunate conclusion that the Reaper has already done the deed. There's no sense in wasting more of the court's time. Prosecution calls for immediate vote. No, the trial can end now. You're a Japanese man, Ryusuke. You should know when to lay down your sword. And you should know never to presume when the battle is won. The court has already been presented with all the evidence and heard all relevant testimony. There can only be one conclusion, that the accused is guilty. All relevant testimony? Far from it. There's still the crucial witness from the court has yet to hear a single word of testimony. In that case... Yeah. Wrong ways. In that case, call your witness to the stand at once. Counsel. Yes, my lord. Tomorrow, if possible. The witness is already on his way and scheduled to arrive tomorrow. Who on earth is this crucial witness? Toshiro Jikoku. A man allegedly murdered by the Reaper. Judge Jikoku, you found him. But the investigation of every policing resource in the capital suggests Jikoku is already dead. How in the name of God did you find the man? He was located in France during the recess. At the port of Dunkirk. Thanks to one Mr. Herlock Sholmes' famous deductions. Herlock Sholmes? Inspector Gregson almost certainly met with Mr. Jikoku on the night of his death. Because along with the prosecutor Sagi, Gregson was on the mission to assassinate the man. Which means that Toshiro Jikoku is the sole witness who can clearly explain what happened on board the SS Grus on the 31st of October. Well, it appears that it's too soon to move on to adjudication at this point. Well, the prosecution concurs and the court must hear Mr. Jikoku's testimony. No judgment will pass until all this testimony has been considered. ... In that case, I hereby call the end of today's proceedings. Court will reconvene at the same hour tomorrow. No objections from either side? No, my lord. No objections, my lord. live to fight another day. By the skin of our teeth. Part 1 complete. Nothing special here. So we actually get to do some investigating. The unexpected halt of proceedings sent the clamor around the courtroom. Outside the Bailey, where Londoners knew nothing of the secret trial within, it was a typical night. Then a little past 8 o'clock in the evening, Mr. Sholmes and his partner returned to Baker Street. Hey, and a feast. A full-blown turkey. A full-blown turkey. We have returned, my dear fellows. Welcome back to Britain, and thank you for your timely help. Think nothing of it. I believe you had an even more worrying day than Mikotama and I, though. You could say that we were on the brink of defeat in their court earlier. So this prosecutor, Sagi, how'd you on the ropes, did he? He's your best friend, did you say? Well, he's not really the man I knew in Japan anymore. Kazuma's changed. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. I mean, it's incredible to think that he'd even entertain the idea of acting as the Reaper's assassin. Well, nevertheless, he must have introduced me. After all, well, they remember the man as a corpse. When all this started almost a year ago now. Mr. Sholmes hasn't told us the truth about what really happened back there. And as I saw from my brother, there is a mention of it in the escapades. One of them. About the motivation for what he himself describes as a great detective's lie. That I must say, it was really quite a journey after all the way to France. It is another country, Mr. Sholmes, so what do you use with Chichikuku? Took him to Scotland Yard. Investigating detectives have quite a lot of questions for the man. Poor Professor Mikotama, it must be quite a shock for him. Ah yes, I picked this up at a telegraph office on the way home. What is it? Surely you haven't forgotten already. I put upon you for the matter of only yesterday. You put upon me, Sholmes. I had to fill out your telegram to Japan and foot the bill as well. Oh, you have a reply already? Well, so urgent though, Mr. Sholmes. The Japan can wait until later. Far too hungry for an involved conversation at present. Well, that's good news, because supper is ready, everyone. What a feast it is. What a feast it is. Our nun advisor, I think Traveler won already. Well, beef, keeper, stew, steak, and kidney pie. Yorkshire pudding? That's a turkey there. Tomorrow will be a very long day, so eat up, everyone. In that case, I'll see myself just there. He appears to be the only one for helping offensive as well. I'm so sorry, Hurley. Not there. Huh? Why not there? Why not there? Are we in set place this evening? Yes, and that place is for Susie's daddy. For me? I don't have a voice for him. That's right, I made it especially for you, Professor Mickey. I see, that's terribly kind of you. It's a shame, really. What do you mean? What do you mean? Well, for a brief moment, I believed it. That Susie and I were half-sisters, I mean. Dun dun dun! Oh! Iris, do you mean... Yes, I know now. I overheard it yesterday. Listen to the conversation you all had. After I had tricked you into all thinking I had left. Ah! The misunderstanding arose because of that autopsy report 10 years ago. But actually, it turned out that neither Dr. Wilson nor Professor Mikotaba are Iris' father. Really? Yes, about that, Iris. You know I know. You can't tell me at the moment. Yes, you can. Oh, Iris. The pheasant, by the way, is an apology. Sorry for eavesdropping. Oh, no. It's quite alright. Then why don't I get an apologetic pheasant? No one cares about you. So who is Iris' father then? Suppose that's not something we will find out today. So then, let's dine. Where largely pheasantless plates are still piping hot. Fine idea, Sholmes. It all looks absolutely delicious. Eat as much as you like, there's always seconds. This could be our last chance to ask questions before tomorrow's trial. And about that telegram from Japan, and about Kazuma. Can't let this opportunity slip away. Now he is looking rather sus. Roast beef, kippers, stew, kidney pie, Yorkshire pudding. It all looks like a mouth-watering good. Indeed it does. If I were accompanying even a morsel of a pheasant, it'd be a perfection. You're still on that? Oh, it really does look like a feast hut for celebrating victory in court. Or indeed for drowning one's arrows after defeat. I hope you weren't referring to the trial tomorrow, Mr. Sholmes. It's clearly still in mourning over the pheasant of the moment. Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing? Surely it's abundantly clear that I wasn't brooding over Mikotawa's refusal to share his pheasant with me. Nonetheless, I felt the need to withdraw from the social circle for a while and look on with hungry eyes. Sorry, Hurley, I cooked the pheasant especially for Susie's daddy. Even though I played the role of father to you for longer. You're not a father, you're more like her son. Mr. Sholmes, can I discuss some things with you? Certainly, my dear fellow. I found myself quite the mood over a spell of conversation. No doubt you're hungry to learn the secrets of my deep love of game. I can probably contain my curiosity on that one. Through. You didn't look at me in that fashion. In what fashion? It seems that before we discuss our pheasant, we have some rather unpheasant matters to discuss. And where can... Oh, we can't move yet. Telegram from Japan. So what's the telegram you received back in Japan then? This. Thank my lucky stars it arrived in time. Record found as indicated. Duplicate follows. Kiyosaki, Aishin, T. Gregson, J. Wilson. What? Those 4 names. Come across the exact same list before. They came up that unforgettable night last spring. What appeared to be a simple case of aggravated murder turned out to be a masking monumental intrigue. Plot to sell of British governmental secrets to foreign states, and exposing the means of which those secrets are being leaked to decipher the fragment of message. Kiyosaki, Shin, T. Gregson, J. Wilson. We found out the names until the case was over, and we never did get to the bottom of what they meant. As we knew, it was the information that had been sent to somebody in the British government. By somebody in the British government to someone in Japan. Somebody. So why are the names coming up again now? Yes, where did the Center of your Telegram discover them, Mr. Sholmes? I have the message here. Yesterday. Let me be with you. Enter Judge Ikoku's office undetected and investigate the telegram records. Expect to find a communication from Britain dated 1 year ago. List of 4 names needed by tomorrow. Naruhodo. I sent it to a detective I know that specializes in clandestine missions of this nature. You asked Inspector Hosonaga to undertake such an onerous task for you. In my name? Wonder what guys he used for operating this time. And dear fellas, a man of great urgency, you understand. Anyway, this name was found in Sashiro's office, as Sholmes predicted. So you mean that the mysterious collection of names that were sent from Britain to Japan was... It was sent to Judge Ikoku. He was the intended recipient. I don't believe it. Well, that doesn't answer the question what the list of names actually signifies. They formulated a hypothesis about that. About a shred of evidence, I could possibly have shared it. Oh, speaking of... Back in Shiro, following the departure of the Dunkirk, all group members are to assemble on the main deck at 10 p.m. in order to review evacuation procedures. The drill will take 20 minutes. Crew resume duties after the drill is over. That's quite an arrangement. Small component. Part of it that Mr. Sholmes found in Judge Shikoku's cabin in the SS Goose. You see these little things all over the place, don't you? It's the part on top of the pocket watch that you twist to set the time, isn't it? Is it? It's called a crown, I believe. A watch would be quite useless without one. Crown. This is the top of Mark's head. That would be a very grand name for such a thing. But actually, yes, Mr. Naruto? If this is the crown, I have a feeling I might have seen the monarch around here somewhere in the very bare head. If by marking me a pocket watch, I'm quite sure you have. You can't examine the inside? What do you think, Mrs. Otto? I'm sure I know exactly what fits here. Really? Just thinking precisely the same thing. You're about to see that little round head component. It's actually the part Inspector Gregson broke. Broken pocket watch. Really? I was just thinking precisely that too. A perfect fit. I knew it. Alright, perhaps you knew it. I'll make a notice of new information at once. It's part of the machine that Mr. Sholmes found in Judge Jikoko's cabinet as a screws cleared up the missing crown of the Inspector Gregson's pocket watch. Well, you figured out what this does now. What a charming little rabbit version of Mr. Sholmes. Suppose how Iris sees him. You're right, Mr. Naruto. Your eyes are very boring into the poor doll's ears. Oh, sorry, I was just wondering. What do you suppose would happen if I were to tug its ears with all my might now? I'm sure I'll find out when the time is right. To be a proper gentleman, you must learn stoic patience. But I want to know. Small part of the Mr. Sholmes found in the Judge Jikoko's cabinet in the Groose. It's now clearly the missing crown of the Inspector Gregson's pocket watch. Inspector Glockman was found inside his trunk, right, which cannot be possibly denied as extremely insignificant. What do you call again the small round piece of the watch? The crown. Pocket watch is quite useless without it. That's quite right. The crown. Very grand name for such a timepiece. It's exactly as you said the last time we discussed it, Mr. Naruto. So that's not the trophy here. Now step of ladders. And the head of karma again. The head of karma again after finding a crucial piece of evidence. Oh, we could do that now. Karma, the great big thing of beauty, gaze on it for hours. Tip of the great sword, broken. Such a shame, it's been so meticulously crafted throughout the years. Almost like your collar or mother's sobs. Cousin must have really taken a swing with that to happen. So it's not that, it's this one then. God damn it. Tip of karma, so this is how it's broken. Kazuma's sword ship is second, I believe he misjudged it. Clearly he wasn't right. He didn't have the full control of his power of his stroke. Too distracted by malicious thoughts, perhaps. Which would be surprising. After all, he was on an assassination mission. He was on an assassination mission. What just happened? Yeah, I think the game just got stuck. Alright. That just really got stuck. Hope. The head of karma. Yeah, it's not showing that one trophy for some reason. We got it, but it's not counting. Oh. We're not, we don't have it yet. Well, it's already on that, so... Yeah, so then also the Herlokian is the other one I need. My PSN profiles, at least they're actually giving the things that we need to do. I know I did that one. It was right after that, so I probably missed that one. And yeah, I missed that one right there. And the accolades will show also. Okay, so the accolades at least. In the accolades, it will show what we were missing. So the telegram from Japan. So now we gotta fast forward back through this trophy, this conversation rather. So Judge Jikoku's office. So you asked the inspector how's the night? The formula, how about it? Should have evidence I can possibly get shared it. Looks dead. So your phones. Telegram has been entered the court record. Telegram from Japan, from Inspector Asanaga to Japan. In Japan, with the details of the telegram, he managed to locate him by stealing Judge Jikoku's office. So just 4 names. There was no record, no room for doubt as to your instructions on Telegram, Mr. Sholmes. You really clear that the Judge Jikoku's office should be searched, so yeah, obviously you knew that that's where this list of names would be found. Kiyosaki, A. Shin, T. Gregson, J. Wilson. But we only learned those 4 names just over 6 months ago now. It's only because they appear to be a top secret government communications were leaked. That's true, yes. By the time we were unaware of the background. You see, those 4 names were wired to Japan. Around 6 months before that. Approximately this time last year, in fact. When you were both still in Japan. Yeah, that's a big piece of information. Really would be hypocrisy on my part to reprove others for intercepting state secrets. Because after all, I'm perpetually eavesdropping on communications between the British government and the Japanese governments. You're perpetually doing what? How? Never mind the details. You should know. No secret is safe for Herlock Sholmes. He has designs of knowing it. Oh my, Mr. Sholmes, what a fabulous line. Now, a month after the 4 names were wired to the recipient Jokoku, Japan, that John H. Jones was murdered. So as I learned of the incident, hypothesis rapidly took shape in my mind. That turned out I was partially correct and partially mistaken. Nevertheless, it was the beginning of all the tragic events that were to follow. Mr. Sholmes, please, tell us all you know. Tell us of these 4 names and the tragedy which they somehow connected. Mr. Sholmes, will you mind taking a look at this? It's hardly a time, Mr. Naruto, as I'm sure you will appreciate. Oh? No, of course not. My attention is entirely drawn on a single matter right now. The pheasant. Why would anyone would think you hadn't eaten in weeks? Yeah, the names were important. So we're at 4 pages of evidence now. Kazuma's death. That tragedy we had to go through in the SS Buria. It's all for nothing. Kazuma wasn't dead at all. You're completely taken him by a lie, he told us. You're a great detective's lie. I took no pleasure in receiving you. However, at the time, all that concerned me was preventing the young man's site tour from taking place, whatever the cost. What? Nani? I capitalized on events that transpired to see if he was sent back to Japan. His remains, you mean? Precisely, Mr. Zato. And then, make sure someone else was sent to Britain instead. Oh my, you mean? The arrangement between the 2 countries was already in place. 1 university student lawyer and 1 judicial assistant to be accommodated on a study tour. In other words, by arranging someone else to fill in the place originally intended for Mr. Asagi, I was successfully prevent the man from arriving in the shores for several years at least. Wait, do you mean to say that it was all in the aid of stopping Kazuma from coming to Britain? That's why you... Think about it, Mr. Naruto. Was there not somebody who will quite casually urge you to continue the voyage in Japan? Terms of the study tour were arranged by the Department of Justice for both Great Britain and Japan. By Mr. Asagi's unfortunate death, I'm afraid the study tour can no longer go ahead. But you're already on the trip there, you're halfway fucking there. My dear fellows, the majority of your problems have an extremely simple solution, you know. What I require is 1 lawyer and 1 study tour. The study tour can go on, surely. But there's no one with the necessary qualifications, Mr. Sholmes. We know of no other lawyer. What you learn is still promises a good month of time. Ample opportunity, I would say, to find yourselves a suitable lawyer. So you manipulated me, obviously. I've often remarked on the extraordinary lengths to which my friendship will drive a man. I was quite sure that you would rise to the challenge for your late friend. I don't believe it. He needs a punch in the face or at least a kick in the nuts. But if it was all contrived, I mean, what happened to was treated by authorities as murder? A woman mistakenly arrested as the perpetrator. What do you suppose became of her? Naturally, and they followed their misapprehension to have any serious repercussions. Since we're going to explain everything to us, assisted in the fortunate soul in finding a foreign refuge she sought. So you remember, Mrs. Otto and I had rather strong words for her. Well, she was certainly not devoid of all guilt. She deserved every word, I'm sure. And she made it to America then. Oh, the first mention of fucking America. Freya simply cannot comprehend it. Why would you go to such lengths, Mr. Sholmes? You evil, evil man. Why are you so determined to undermine Cosmo-san from reaching Britain? The truth is, 12 months ago, there was already a very tangible omen in the of the impending tragedy, you see. Oh? An omen that at this very time, very moment in time, is close to at hand. And when all these tragic events that it's already existed a year ago, it's close at hand. We need to find out exactly what Mr. Sholmes knows. Yeah, well, you showed him the telegram, so that becomes the 4 names. Now that we've advanced this. So I learned about Dr. Wilson's murder in Japan, my mind immediately turned to those 4 names. After that, when I heard about Dr. Wilson's murder in Japan, I turned to those 4 names. Because, you see, there was someone else on the list who I believe to be recently deceased. What? Who? Asian. As it was transcribed in Japanese script, in actual fact, Miss Asashin. Her name was very familiar to me. She was a professional killer. Known all among lungs and the savory classes. Oh, I see. But she had completely vanished from its existence several months before Wilson's murder. So I came to the logical conclusion that she had herself been killed. And accordingly, I became fearful for the lives of the remaining 2 persons on the list. Kiyosaki and T. Gregson. Kiyosaki and T. Gregson. Owing to our proximity, I decided to take measures to protect Gregson myself. But I determined it would be safest for young Asagi to stay away from it. So that's why we went to such lengths to prevent this tour from going ahead. Exactly. So, you already knew who Kazuma-san was, Mr. Sholmes. Oh yes, Mr. Sholmes and I exchanged correspondence for years. I recounted many tales about Asagi to him in my letters. And the news of Dr. Wilson's death, of course. She's blessing all this time. So, Dr. Wilson is dead then? I didn't know. Oh, Iris, yeah. We've been meaning to eventually tell you, but I know he wasn't my daddy, but still. It's very sad. I'm so sorry, Iris. We knew the significance of the name, obviously, but we just couldn't bring ourselves to tell you. No. But what you just told us, Mr. Sholmes, doesn't completely tie in with the facts. There's one big hole in your hypothesis. A big hole, Mr. Naruto? Ah, yes, you mean about the Asashin, I presume. Oh, of course. Exactly, she wasn't killed, was she? She was in Japan posing as a visiting student under the assumed name of Jezebel Brett. Glad you keep me up, my dear fellow. And I only became aware of that fact 2 days ago, in the foyer of the Great Waterloo Hotel. Ah, yeah. Upon hearing a startling revelation, the hypothesis has formed surrounding the 4 names was completely turned topsy. What? Topsy? Topsy hypothesis. I guess time to find out if this sandwich is still good. Turkey and cheddar sub. Turkey cheddar sub, full. Perishable, keep refrigerated. Oh. You want some of my sandwich? Topsy hypothesis. What do you mean you say your hypothesis was turned topsy, Mr. Sholmes? She wants the sticker. More than the meat. We have 4 names on the list that be see ya. She wants the sticker. I'll give all 4 names on the list to be the names of the victims. However, I was mistaken. Ooh. Some mustard and sweet relish. Okay. I'll add these to the sun then. I was gonna say, very much so. Assassin was the killer. So the telegram lists both victims and killers. Asagi by Ashin and Gregson by Wilson. Is that it? Or Asagi to kill Gregson and Ashin to kill Wilson? Indeed, it would seem that Miss Machine yes. Was dispatched for the sole intention of dispatching Dr. Wilson. So relish on the turkey sub. That's interesting. Oh, that won't do you any good if you eat that. So, 2 packets for a giant foot-long sub. Everything students asked was merely a front. Which would explain why no motive could be determined for her action. So the real reason Dr. Wilson was killed by Asashin is because he was a target of assassination. Assassination. Informed of that knowledge, freshly considered off the telegram, puts all this in a very different perspective. What do you mean? Well, does it not strike you that there's another among the four who subsequently became a visiting student? Wait, you mean... But of course, we all know only too well. You mean Kazuma? Oh. Like I said, he was on an assassination. We've been seeing that hint, but that's not what... Now it makes more sense why we've seen that. He did say in court earlier today. Yes, on the 31st of October, I accompanied Inspector Weston to Dunkirk in order to carry out a mission. And our mission was the assassination of the Mark. Young Sagi accepted that mission a year ago now. Surely not. In conclusion, this document is a contract of sorts. International agreement, that one might say. Detailing an assassination exchange. An assassin exchange. An assassin exchange? How could Kazuma possibly got involved in something like that? See, now something is really getting weird in the story. Let's assume they have two parties, each willing to dispose of a distant individual. These two parties make a contract to swap out their respective assassination targets. That would be an assassin exchange. So to begin with, the British assassin gets dispatched as a visiting student to Japan when she kills her target. And then the Japanese assassin dispatches a visiting student to Britain in order to eliminate his target. Certainly does sound like an exchange. But what on earth is the point? Don't forget, Naruhodo, that the British assassin had at least escaped conviction, thanks to diplomatic immunity afforded by the consular jurisdiction. Oh yes. Such jurisdiction should be null and void under the terms of the new treaty between our two countries. So the fact that it was brought into play suggests an intervention at the highest levels, very highest levels. The highest levels. That judge is looking more and more suspicious now. These murders are two sides of the same coin, linked by not a common motive but a contractual agreement. As such, they appeared utterly unrelated, and yet, in truth, assassins were complicit in one singular devilish scheme. That dissociation was safeguarded by diplomatic immunity, I believe. It's the motivation behind the job. Plot. But wait a minute, Sholmes.
if the Sterling government is really scrapping exchange of assassins like you're suggesting, that would mean that the Japanese killer's target was never Sojiro at all. It's Gregson. I mean, Osaka's target was actually Inspector Gregson. What, Cosmo's here for Gregson? So Judge Shikoku wasn't actually the mark. Yes, that's exactly what it would mean. It means he has no reason to flee. I hold myself personally responsible for failing to keep the Spectre safe. Mr. Sholmes. I told him my fears and implored him to seek a transfer to overseas position. Honestly, with a young pickpocket in tow. Yes, Gina. Come to think of it, Inspector Gregson did mention that to us in the Great Exhibition. He'd been transferring to Paris police and taking Gina with him. But without informing me, he engaged in one last assignment, it seems. Sadly, turned out to be his very last. It's too much to take in. Alright everyone, that's enough of this serious talk for one day. Isn't it early? I mean, look at the time. Ah, quite right hours. Let's conclude our preparations for tomorrow. What preparations? Well, I think I shall make my way back to the hotel room now. It's certainly been a night to remember. It is a bit sad, though. I mean, I like the idea of you being my daddy. Because then Susie would have been my big sister. I'm sorry, Iris. I know, Iris. I was thinking quite the same thing. You were. But if someone like me were to be worthy, I would be delighted to become your sister. What? Really? Oh yes, without question. So, you'll teach me all the ways you know of to throw Runo on the floor? Yes, of course. That'll be a pleasure. My pleasure. You didn't have to agree to it quite so readily. And you say she doesn't deserve a punch in the face? She does it on purpose. Oh, but wait a minute. Susie's gonna be my big sister. You'll be my big brother if you want, Runo. I mean, oh yeah, of course. If you had me, I'll gladly be your brother. Well done, Iris. Well done, Iris. I'm sorry to be mindful of feelings. I raised you well. Ha 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 ha. She's Sato. Well, masochist, right? No, Sato. The one that likes to inflict pain. She's the Dom. Because you're being sensitive, you're a strong suit naturally. Right, I'm going to work extra hard for tomorrow now. Because of my big brother and sister. What is all this talking about preparing for tomorrow? Preparing what? Hee hee. You'll just have to wait and see. Oh. Good looking forward tomorrow. I'm expecting a sterling performance. I'll do my very best, of course. So the overnight break-in of trials proceedings became a crucial turning point. Exposing new truths while posing a new conundrums. That's the 4 names on the telegram in the Judge Ikoku's office. An extraordinary assassination plan in which my best friend has somehow become involved. It felt as though I've been plunged into an even greater darkness all of a sudden. But at the same time, I felt I was sure to see the light again soon. Because I was lucky enough to have the most wonderful family in the world standing steadfast behind me. I guess that's it for this chapter. Trial, part 4. Huh? Never mind. I'm looking at the wrong one. Trial, part 2. Part 4 is episode 5. November 4, 9:30 a.m. Old Bailey Courtroom. Before we begin today, I have a brief announcement. As with the closed trials 10 years ago, some astonishing facts have come into light. The revelation that the well-known Reaper is actually an organization legally executing his own brand of justice. And the discovery that in response, the respected yard inspector was at the heart of the until he himself was perished at the assassination plot. I'll say to all members of the judiciary present here on this occasion that we stop at nothing to uncover the whole truth of these proceedings, these disturbing findings. Consuls, you will undertake this trial with the resolve to pursue the truth to the bitter end. Resolve, yes, that's my intention. My lord, if I may ask, inquire. I'm gonna finish eating and then I can't do his voice right while I'm eating. One more moment. Alright, there we go. Now that we're ready.
My lord, if I may inquire, does anyone have a throat lozenge? My Batman voice.
The defense may speak. The defendant may speak.
On what grounds is Kazuma Saki permitted to continue his role as prosecutor? He has admitted to colluding with the victim in a plot to assassinate an innocent man. He shouldn't be enjoying the privilege of freedom, let alone leading the prosecution.
I submitted a written petition to Lord Stronghart, requesting that the judgment of my transgressions be delayed by 1 day. Well, it's already been a day.
You did what?
In today's proceedings, I intend to expose everything. My whole life for the last 10 years has all been leading up to this one day. Kazuma, well, you know what your whole life is now. Whatever the outcome of this trial, I give my word that I will accept whatever punishment is deemed appropriate, however severe. I suggest you prepare yourself for the same, Reaper. Kazuma is bristling with hostility today. I get the distinct impression we're heading for a very dangerous territory. Is that really even Kazuma-sama standing before us? As an extreme exception for normal practices, I have granted this prosecutor's request. The defense finds this acceptable, I presume? Yes, my lord.
In that case, in the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session again. Resume the closed hearing of Barak Van Zeeks.
The defense is ready, my lord. Prosecution is more than ready.
Very well then. This preamble has taken on long enough. Prosecutor Sagi, begin.
As you wish, my lord. The prosecution calls the first one to stand. Bring Seijiro Shikoku to the courtroom. At last, and we reach the final battle. He's putting literally everything on the line in order to get to the truth. Come on, Ryusuke, it's time for that steely resolve. This is going to test the limit. I just had the turkey and cheddar sub. Pretty good. I thought it was a really good one. But they gave like one little tiny packet of mustard and one packet of relish. Not even like a regular size one, like miniature ones. Which went pretty well with it, but it's just. Witness, state your name and occupation for the court.
Oh. So it was you who arrested this, was it?
No.
Oh, so it was you who arrested. Order the court.
No, that's not the voice. It's close.
Ah, Oh. Order in the court. Oh.
Close enough.
Oh, so it was you who issued this, huh? Was it?
Your subpoena? I did what I was necessary.
Ha 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 ha. Well, look what the young man has become. Didn't think I'd see this day when you take the tone of me, I must say.
The witness will ensure his response. The witness will ensure his response are pertinent to the questions asked.
My name is Shiziro Jikoku, Supreme Court Judge from the Empire of Japan.
16 years ago, a man came to London as a visiting student. 6 years later, he returned home. As well as presiding over the Supreme Court, he is also Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs. Current.
I am of course fully aware of that, Mr. Jikoku in his preeminent roles.
I invited him personally to the International Forensic Science Symposium as a representative of his country. He has also played a key role in the conclusion of the Anglo-Japanese Treaty of Friendship and Navigation.
Oh, it was a great honor to be involved in the negotiations. I put my all into that treaty.
Judge Jikoku, I must ask.
Well, I never. Fancy me, young murdering student starting up here all places.
You acquitted me yourself. And now, I'm a practicing defense lawyer.
Yes, I'm fully self-important like your friend across the courtroom, I see.
You came here by invitation to the International Forensic Science Symposium. But then, without informing anyone of your plans, you took flight to France.
Took flight? I have to object to that turn of phrase.
Then explain yourself. What exactly were the circumstances?
Well, I was somewhat expecting this, I'm sorry to say. And I'm sorry to say, I decline to comment.
What?
Leaving the country prematurely was, when I was invited, guess maybe a questionable etiquette. My decision is to unravel this case. I can't be bound to, but my decision is unrelated to this case. I can't be bound to testify.
Unrelated, you say?
I appreciate the respected police inspector has been killed, for which I offer my condolences. However, being an alien, I'm honestly never met the man, nor do I know the first thing about him. So as such, I am in no position to testify. It's as simple as that.
Uh-huh. Well, time to disprove that right now with evidence. So you would run away from all this?
I beg your pardon?
The case is far more far-reaching than the murders of Inspector Gregson. He has ties to another murder, a case that was tried in Japan almost a year ago now.
A year ago in Japan?
Murder of Dr. John H. Wilson, you mean? That's right, and you, Judge Ikoku, are at the heart of both cases. The defense has evidence to prove it. Well, Yunosuke, I see from the look in your eyes that you're resolved to carry this through to the very end, too. Let's see your evidence then. We prove we have that Shishiro Jikoku is involved in this case. Telegram. This is a telegraph containing a communication sent between Britain and Japan approximately 1 year ago. Communication contained 4 names: K. Asagi, A. Shin, T. Gregson, and J. Wilson.
Hold it. You little... Where did you get that?
In Tokyo. From your office, Judge Ikoku.
What? How on earth did you...
What is this about? Why is my name on that list? This list of 4 names contains a certain pattern. T. Gregson and J. Wilson are the names of the victims. Kiyosaki and A. Shin are the names of the assassins. No. A year ago in Tokyo, Dr. John H. Wilson's life was taken by a Western-style restaurant. Was taken in a Western-style restaurant in the capital. The culprit was found to be a visiting student who went by the name of Jezebel Brett, but her real name was Asa Sheen, a professional killer sent on a mission to kill from Great Britain. Shin and her victim J. Wilson, and the murder that took place right here in London was the counterpart to that crime. Assassin sent from Japan, also the visiting student, Kasuma Sagi, whose victim was the British police inspector Tobias Gregson. Kiyosaki and T. Gregson. One assassin from each country to kill a target residing in the other. ... What exactly is the defense suggesting? These 2 cases of murder, one took place in Britain and one in Japan, were masterminded by a pair of individuals in each country as a form of an assassin exchange, and the telegram of the defense has acquired as proof of this international contract to kill. What? It's on the defense. The telegram was found in your office, Judge Ikoku. In other words, the mastermind in Japan was you. Judge Ikoku? What is this about? He's pretending he doesn't have a role in it. And you, Kazuma, you lied. During yesterday's proceedings, you acknowledged that you accepted the assassination mission, but the mark wasn't Judge Ikoku at all. It was T. Gregson, Detective Inspector of Scotland Yard, as shown by the name on that killing contract. Very impressive, Rinosuke. But actually, I didn't lie. You lied to Gregson. The name of the target I was ordered to kill was never past my lips yesterday. And the yes, assured Jikoku was the mark, came entirely from you. Ah, you deliberately avoid stating a name. The defense claims these 4 names indicate some sort of international assassin exchange. I speak for all present when I say that the very idea seems utterly absurd. Well, Mr. Jikoku, what do you have to say for yourself? He's annoyed for sure. His silence only goes to prove his guilt. There's another very important point that a new development brings to light. There's now a distinct possibility that the scene of Inspector Gregson's actual murder was in the witness's cabin aboard the SS Groose. Judge Jikoku, you have to testify now. To refuse will put you in contempt of court.
Ha. There's no need for quite such a vicious stare, young man. Very well then. As part of a parting gift to you all, I'll tell you everything I know. It seems this Japanese man has the information of the court must hear about the alleged assassin exchange and the events of the night of the October 31st. Present your formal testimony now. As you wish, my lord.
Witness testimony. The assassin exchange. It's true that Kazuma Saki was assigned an assassination mission 1 year ago. That's just fucked up. Holmes was right, but for the wrong reason. The target was Inspector T. Gregson. That was the condition of the British. That was a condition of the British study tour. What?
However, that's the start where I didn't do this. It's true that Kazuma Sagi was assigned an assassination mission 1 year ago. The target was Inspector Gregson. That was a condition of the British study tour. However, in the end, something happened that meant the young man was unable to carry out his mission. On the evening in question, a member of the crew was on duty outside the cabin at all times. There had been a shot fired, a crewman would have heard it, so clearly I can't be involved. So you admit then, as this communication suggests, that there was an assassination exchange arrangement between Britain and Japan. A political endeavor at the highest levels, not something I can discuss here. To use such a wordy practice as foreign study to coerce somebody to commit murder. That's the most appalling thing I've ever seen. Appalling? Well, it's easy to judge. Pardon? Sagi had a reason for taking a sword to that British inspector, you know. What? Which is why he accepted the mission in the first place. Isn't that right, Counsel? Kazuma-sama? Judge Jikoku, if you have the mastermind behind this operation in Japan, then tell the court and identify your counterpart in Britain. It's probably the judge right now. I'm not obliged to divulge that information. It's fucking Strongheart, isn't it? As I said yesterday, I've killed nobody. Freely admit that I accepted the mission, but on the night the plan was to be executed, I backed out. In short, the assassination exchange the defense has identified as unrelated to the events of this case. Crucial point is this: your police inspector cannot have perished on board a steamship in Dunkirk, because if he was shot in the cabin, it's conceivable that the member of the crew wouldn't have heard it. Inconceivable. That's right. Gregson was killed after returning to London in a room on Fresno Street, and that perpetrator of the crime was the Reaper, Barrett Van Zeeks. Prosecutor's accusation remains unchanged. To think that such an unseemingly innocent foreign exchange program was a facade for such a Machiavellian dealings. Clearly it's a plot that only a government minister and a high-ranking judge such as the witness could hope to execute. Well, I seem to recall it was someone on the British side who controlled everything. Hint, hint. Be it as it may, this is not the place of the court to peruse the villainous exchange plot. That's because you're involved. We are concerned only with the tangible events pertaining to the murder of Inspector Gregson. Is the defense clear on that point, Counsel? Don't implicate me. Yes, my lord. Keep that in mind as I cross-examine the witness. That's an exchange. It's true that the Kazuma Sagi was assigned an assassination mission 1 year ago now. Why the fuck are you killing an inspector? A random fucking cop of anything. A year ago when Kazuma was still in Japan then. Correct. It was an examination center for applicants for the study tour that I approached him. I'll never forget it. I remember exactly what you said. You just came out and asked for me for a friend I considered traveling to Britain on an assassination mission. Surely not. That was a joke at first, of course. But then, it's made clear that if I didn't accept that, I wouldn't be considered for the study tour. Weak flap. So you agreed to it just for that. I know how much you wanted to study in England, but assassination? The Empire of Japan has accepted a proposal from the British Empire at the time.
The agreement was to send a student from each country to the others to deepen the cultural understanding and friendship. But behind the scenes, chosen students were to be given assassination missions. I had no choice but to accept those proposals that originated from my British counterpart. Why? Why didn't you expose the plot there and then? Money. Burton acknowledges no part in these alleged misbegotten dealings. Advise you not to make suspicious allegations, spurious allegations, Foreign Minister Jikoku. As a witness, I am bound to tell the truth, my lord. Anyway, I picked up Asagi and explained the details of the plan to him. The target was Inspector T. Gregson. That was the condition of the British study tour. This trial took a very big turn. Why Kazuma? Why did you pick him as the assassin? He was the most capable of all the applicants. And in addition, I knew his desire to travel to Britain was very strong. In fact, it was almost more than a desire. It was the whole pursuit of his life. Yes, as his best friend, I can certainly attest to that. The way he threw himself at his studies and the way he pursued to become qualified as a lawyer. It was ultimately that single goal of being accepted to this British study tour. And of course we know the reason behind that. He was determined to find out for himself the truth about his father, Genshin Asagi. There's a thing I would have done to get here. Be that agreeing to assume the role of assassin, or betraying people's trust. Well, you certainly did a fine job of betraying mine, Asagi. But why was Inspector Gregson the target? I have no idea. There were others from Britain. I was in no position to question them. The orders were from Britain. You really have no idea? I find that hard to believe. Really? Oh, do you? Judge Shikoku was a visiting student here in Britain himself, of course. Perhaps he has some connection with Inspector Gregson from the time. The defense really ought to catch up. With what? With the fact that the assassin exchange has been absolutely nothing to do with the case under scrutiny here. We have to prove it is. So yes, I already admitted to recruiting Asagi. However, in the end, something happened that meant the young man was unable to carry out his mission. I'm assuming referring to the incident that occurred during Kazuma's passage on board Britain in January. The awful tragedy, quote-unquote, that took place on the steamship. Word arrived at the ministry some 2 weeks after the ship's departure from our shores. The visiting student had been killed, but his body had somehow gone missing in Hong Kong. The news was wired to me from the detective I placed on this ship to accompany the assassin. Obviously, Kazuma didn't actually die at all, but he did lose his memory, including all details about his special mission. Did you not consider dispatching another assassin at that point? That wasn't possible, simply because the black-clad young student over there had already put himself forward as Asagi's replacement. There was no way to stop him from reaching Britain. My hands were completely tied. So Mr. Shom's strategy worked perfectly. He predicted everything that would happen. Months later, memory returned. But I never intended to go through with the assassination mission anyway. So you were playing me right from the onset, were you? Is that it? I wouldn't be guilty of that crime than taking someone else's life. I was prepared to do whatever I had to in order to get myself here in Britain. This line of questioning has gone on long enough. All the court should be concerned is the testimony given by this witness. are details relating to his relationship with Inspector Gregson and the murder victim. In that case, as I already made perfectly clear, I had no connection to the man or his death. Yes, and you have some means of substantiating his plea. On the evening in question, a member of the crew was outside a cabin at all times. Not at all times. Outside your cabin in the first class area of the SS Goose, you mean? Yes, that's right. Not least because of the murder of the mere student passenger earlier in the year, I imagine. The line of operations have taken to posting a crewman outside every first class cabin door. I can confirm the presence of the crewman guard myself. What do you mean? Because I accompanied Inspector Gregson to Dunkirk that night. I witnessed it with my own eyes. There was a well-built crewman standing directly in front of the door of the witness cabin. At that particular time, of course, I'd gone to the ship's dining room for dinner. Inspector and I asked the crewman to allow us to the cabin while we waited for Jikoko's return. Now suppose Inspector Gregson was there in the capacity as a Reaper. He was intending to take the witness's life. Exactly. Numerous times I had no intention of killing anyone. So the crewman led 2 potential assassins to the cabin he was supposed to be guarding. Not the most convincing of sentries, really. In truth, those were my thoughts too. But anyhow, I stayed and talked to Inspector Gregson a short while. And then I left him there and made my way off the ship alone. Oh yeah? And what about the slash? Was the guard still in the door when you went out? Yes. He glared at me as I walked past. You see, this proves it. That proves it. There had been a shot fired, a crewman would have heard it, so clearly I can't be involved. Oh. We have proof that says otherwise. The crewman who was standing guard directly outside your room, cabin door, you mean? That's right. A muscular man with a permanent grim expression on his face. He didn't move once from his spot. To be honest, I thought he was a miserable fellow. But as it happens, he's a vital witness now. There is no doubt that Gregson was killed by a gunshot. It is inconceivable that the crewman was standing there just outside the cabin door would never heard that. Wait, what about the ship's enormous steam engines? Noise of them could have drowned out the sound of a gun being fired. Sally, young judicial assistant, that won't wash. Oh? You will recall that my cabin was the first class area of the steamship, which is also, of course, the quietest. But imagine a moment there was anything steerage that where the judicial assistants go. I didn't mean. But the hole like that made by a bullet was found in your cabin, Judge Chikoku. It's compelling evidence that a gun was fired there. What's that? A bullet hole? Oh yes, you're talking about what the detective uncovered on the wall yesterday, I presume. It was obviously a rotten panel eaten away by a woodworm. No doubt he couldn't find an actual bullet. The hole in this argument. Sadly, I wasn't able to arrange for the crewmen to be brought back to Britain with me. But obviously, if the gun had been fired in my cabin in the night in question, as the defense implies, I would have been arrested on the spot. And I would have made it to Britain in the first place. Very true. The witness's logic is sound. Since no gunshot was heard from the witness's cabin at the night in question, we must assume that the witness is telling the truth. I'm glad you see my sense, my lord. Now, Constable was already admitted to taking this incredible assassination plot, but even so, hearing him confirm it by someone else is a real shock. It's unforgivable. Using Constable Hassan's feeling to manipulate him, agreeing to such a despicable plan. I think Kazuma manipulated Judge Goku too. He completely double-crossed him. Maybe. Then why was his sword slash on the fucking case? Oh dear, it's hard to see that as a stroke of brilliance on Kazuma-sama's part. Over and over though, Gregson ended up dead. We think the murder must have happened on board that steamship. So you mean Judge Goku must be lying? I know I shouldn't let my emotions cloud my judgment. But you must destroy him, Mr. Naruhodo. No! God damn it. I pushed it too many times. Throw this away then. Hey, don't fucking bite. I couldn't possibly have been involved. Shut up, bitch. Yes, as the court has heard, there was a crewman posted outside Judge Goku's cabin. However, we can be sure that, contrary to the witness's claim, the guard wasn't there at all times. What? I have here a notice of a particular event that was scheduled to take place on board the steamship on the 31st. What? Where'd you get that? It's evidence gathered by Mr. Herlock Sholmes. You were acquainted yesterday, if you remember. Herlock Sholmes again. Herlock Sholmes again. According to his itinerary, after leaving the port of Dunkirk at exactly 10 p.m. and for a period of 20 minutes, all crewmen of the SS groups were to gather on deck for an evacuation drill. All crewmen were away from their posts. During that 20-minute interval, of course, any gunshots emanating from your cabin would have been heard by no one. In summary, Judge Goku, you have ample opportunity to commit the crime. Ah! A 20-minute window of opportunity. That's an excellent find, Rinosuke. But it amounts to nothing. Why? Because the witness clearly stated in his testimony, no incident occurred in this cabin. Uh-huh. Then why was he found in the trunk of his cabin? Let's see how the decisive evidence that could show his testimony to be false. Yes I do. Your accusation is nothing more than conjecture. Very true. Well, counsel, I have evidence. Inspector Gregson was killed in Judge Goku's cabin that night. I'm certain of it. Because the defense has evidence to prove it. You'll present this evidence to the defense. For the defense at once, counsel. What proof do you have that the victim's life was taken in Jikoku's cabin on the 31st? Judge Jikoku, this was found in your cabin yesterday. What is that? The crown of a pocket watch? A pocket watch? If you observe, the victim's pocket watch, which we know he treasured, is missing precisely that part. It can't be. Moreover, this crown is a perfect fit on the spindle protruding from the victim's pocket watch. Now, the fact that this was retrieved from Judge Jikoku's cabin tells us that the victim's watch is almost certainly broke there. In other words, the victim was killed on the 31st during the 20-minute evacuation drill. in the cabin occupied by you, Judge Shikoku. Well, you're razor sharp, aren't you, you young murderer?
Objection.
Expertly maneuvered, Rinosuke. And your argument sounds entirely plausible. At first. But rather like this pocket watch, it's full of cracks. What? And I believe Judge Ikoko feels the same way. Then why was he panicked? I was wrong to acquit you earlier this year. Sorry. I know this will be the result of anyone having to listen to this drivel. I would have declared you guilty to spare the world of your ridiculous bombast. I think it's clear that the witness will have to give further testimony. Hope, get out of the tree. When you hear exactly what happened in my cabin that night, you will notice that pitfall in which you have stumbled. Prior to renewing your testimony, I would like to clarify one point. I think that's a good stopping point. It's 11:30. I gotta come into work tomorrow at fucking 9 in the morning. So that means I have to be up earlier. So I unfortunately have to stop this sooner. I wonder if it shows how many parts that have to do with this. I don't think there's too many parts. And not on story mode. Yeah, this one doesn't have the actual thing, so I won't be able to see it. It just has the trophies, but we don't have time for that. Hope down. So we will have to do one more Monday to finish this. I'll leave the music on. So thank you all for coming in, hanging out, lurking. Hope you have a good night. I'll post my schedule once I get a chance. Probably Wednesday. I have more of a chance to do that, as I'll be stuck at work and doing stuff. So I'll see you all again tomorrow for Death Stranding. We will do some post-story stuff to get the last unlockables, racing if we can, and other things. And then Once we have everything we can get, we'll start crafting everything, which will not be tomorrow, and then collecting all the chips. Don't forget about my Shin Megami Tensei giveaway, and let's see who's on the raid. So, at least it's a long day for that.